Okay, greetings. Okay, this is without intro music. Trying to give the world a break. So this is a deep dive, kind of continuation from yesterday. Let's see where it goes. I tend to mention remote view, Archon timelines, and butterfly realities. Just to liven things up a little bit with the butterfly energies, something a little bit different than all just dense realms. So I went to Saturn a little bit yesterday. That was a little bit much. Yeah, the butterfly stuff. I'm not sure how far I'm gonna go into that one, but at least something's a little bit more of taste, or either way, balance. Yeah, I don't know if those have been watching or listening or whatever. I did say around months ago, or a month ago, or months ago. Can't remember. I felt March where things are going to start happening. Of course, at the end of February into March. Now we have the Ukraine situation going on. So yeah, just like March was the launching point overall. So I don't know. I feel Putin's going to be taken out of office eventually somehow. So we just have to see where this goes. Yeah, it's hard to say how that's going to work. It might not happen at all, but I just feel him being pulled out of office. Um, and the war probably going for at least a couple more months, or who knows? They might have a ceasefire tomorrow, as far as I know. Probably a couple more months at least. We won't be able to recognize Ukraine. There won't be anything left of it by then. So yeah, once they take over the capital, I don't think they take over the capital yet. But anyway, it'll slow down, but it'll still continue. So that's the golden prize, the capital, which I don't think that's been taken over, but I could be wrong. Where else are we going with? So the 10th dimension, we'll go into that in a second. So I'm tired of comedy, private sessions, we have schedule. We have the shop. Yeah, slow as anything. I'm actually on the 14th of February. Oh, I'm on Valentine's Day, somewhere around then. And it's now March. Same situation here. We have the webinar sign up, social networking, behind the scenes. Okay, so 10th dimension. Obviously, there's darkness within all the dimensions. I went into this yesterday about how the higher dimensions abuse their power. It's like Superman with super eye, laser eyes is blasting whoever he feels like, kind of like that. For example, and of course here, um, given more content. So obviously, it's a little bit complicated how people come to our world, or why this world was ever developed. Obviously, to one part of it was for beings that abuse realities to get what's coming to them eventually, even put them literally into a jail, literally. So, and you can say it's if any reality has anything of a jail connected to it, is technically a prison planet. Even if it's like a nice friendly jail, it's technically a jail planet just to have that at all. So that's lovely. So yeah, fourth dimensional Palladians might have a jail, or Arturians, whoever it might be. There's you don't have to, you call it whatever you want, but either way. Um, Now you have, like, for example, these pastors of religion. They use A lot of them use mind control, uh, mostly mind control. Of course, they use charm, but that's part of the mind control to get what they want. So you can say, even in the spiritual community, those that are very popular, some of them are extremely manipulative. I believe they're put in those positions as a wake up call. Say, hey, look, this manipulator might have power, but still manipulating the hell out of people. Um, it's for people to realize it or just be in control. Some need to be told what to do, unfortunately. um, yeah, that's been going on forever. So, but I believe there are some spiritual beings here that are so advanced. There are not many of them. Like they come here to live a prison reality. They find a way to manipulate themselves into power. I think it's very rare, but it can happen. you know, and you kind of see it as they become like very popular in the spiritual community. I just use that for example. But they're kind of saying the same thing over and over again. Different, something a little bit different, but still the same. And it shows you that they know how to hijack people's energy, become popular, but they're like a broken record also. They try to change things up a little bit. They can always quit and go do another profession, but obviously they're not going to do that. So, well, let's put it this way: for like the early YouTubers that are in the spiritual community that are supposedly running it, or a major influence. More not the secret space program, just more like your average spiritual new age energy. Some of them are just master manipulators, just and that's the thing. That's the other thing. So you have like politicians and corrupt media, and then you have somebody spiritual complaining about them, which is understood to a certain extent. But if you're always hitting, always complaining about it in a certain way, it's like they want you to complain about them. It's like, yeah, I'm a badass. Of course you're gonna bitch about me. Oh my god. And there's nothing you can do about it. So sometimes, I guess it all depends on how it's done, but you know, those that are manipulating your reality want you to complain about them. Oh, they're always the bad guy and they enjoy it. And there's nothing you can do to take him out of that power range either. Just putting it out there. It's true though. That's why you have to work on yourself, which is obviously more complicated. Yeah, that's of course you have spiritual teachers that have not worked on themselves or not planning on it either. They sort of are, but not really. Not when you think you know everything. And but other people can see it that you're not really doing anything on yourself. So yeah. Anyway, not going too much in detail on that one. So the 10th dimension. hmm, Oh, let's see. Magic reality. Of course, all realities are magic, but basically, where you can take matter and shift its energy. You have more of a, I would say, I'm just going to use the word control over the fourth dimension. There is astral realities. So there's an astral 10th dimension, there's astral 11th dimension, or astral 12th dimension, and so on. Obviously, your elites are in all dimensions, but I'll say a lot of it comes from the 10th dimension, came from the ninth, but I feel like a lot of the control here comes from the 10th dimension. Go look and tapping into that reality. Well, a lot of the problems came from, I didn't really think about that. A lot of the difficulties here came from the 10th dimension. I would say some of it came from the higher levels, but a lot of it came from the 10th dimension. Um, yeah, beings that have a mastered mind control on many different levels. Also, the hybrid programs are very powerful in the higher dimensions. Obviously, they're in the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, but most of the hybrid programs are the strongest. Obviously, it gets stronger in the higher as you go up in dimension. Let's see. 10th dimension doesn't always want to make itself known. Here in the third dimension, a lot of spirit guides are connected to the 10th dimension. Or for some, that is the spirit realm. Now, spirit realm can be in any dimension, fourth, fifth, sixth. There's different levels of the spirit world, and the 10th dimension is no doubt no different. Uh, Definitely, 10th dimension still has a lot of reptilian. Even there has of influence here. Um, there are reptilian alliances that want humanity or like to assist humanity in its awakening, but obviously can't interfere due to government influence. Government here has been now tapping into the 10th dimension and just going by what their point of view of us. But our government is basically imprinted, downloaded from other realities to prove a point. That's different. That you can control any reality, especially the third dimension. So there are beings that are just completely obsessed with themselves in the 10th dimension. So a lot of I mean, I realize people say like the narcissist is usually in the fourth or third dimension, but there's a lot of them in the 10th dimension. There's in all dimensions, but definitely the 10th dimension. Jeez, lovely. Let's see here. Yeah, they don't want really much to be known about their realm here. That we have to get obviously our act together. That's them talking. That we lost our Kundalini energy due to manipulative energies of wanting more, always wanting more. So if humanity would slow down and just have a conversation, a lot of these problems would go away. What comes up is like some of the, not to name names, but some of these news people are like teenagers. Like if say you're a YouTuber, and for example, a news reporter with CNN would say, "What do you do? You live with your mom?" It's like, jeez. It's like, geez, lovely. It shows it just shows the maturity level that's here. And that's a lot of the maturity level is influenced by not just reptilian beings or other beings here that are childish. Some people have tapped into reptilians. Like I say, I'm using them for example. There's other beings that act like kids too, but one of them is the reptilians where, yeah, they might be advanced in manipulating our reality, but they seem like they're teenagers themselves. Meaning that, yeah, they're showing our darkness, but a lot of them are just kids. They're like really advanced kids. Well, I mean, they know not how to fall into our trap that we fall into. Obviously, our planet is kind of like a whirlpool, or yeah, it's hard to get out of it. Quicksand. Our planet is the mindset is quicksand. Not everybody's like that, but it's because you get in a certain mindset that's either narcissistic and so toxic. All you do is go down, and you take others with you. So 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 basically, yeah, like I said, I'm tapping into the 10th dimension, getting their point of view of our planet. I just feel like I had to say that again for some bizarre reason. Um, without going into too much detail of the 10th dimension. So what they're saying is, so you have no, this is nothing new. You have leaders of groups in the past, like Atlantis, Lemuria. You know, your group leader, you can say, and you've seen this in companies, maybe where the leader's a fool, basically, or easily corrupted. Obviously, a lot of times they're put there because they're weak. Now, this isn't all the cases, but there are some cases where the weakest link is put as a leader, and it takes everybody else down. So that happened in Atlantis where the leaders became corrupt. And how they got in those positions, it's that was one of the reasons. The weakest link, not to manipulate, but to test. It wasn't about manipulating. Yes, that person might be manipulated, but they made a lot of poor choices. And then they took their groups down. Not everybody, but quite a few. And it just kept happening. Basically, as you know, corruption and leadership. So that's the name of the game, and humanity pulling themselves out of this is understanding the trickster energies, which goes into the demonic realms. I mean, how many people that are connected to New Age groups are comfortable and connected to a demonic being? Many aren't ready for that. But it's like, yeah, I just remote view hell and talk to a bunch of demons. I mean, is that like a topic somewhere? Are they having conferences about that? Yeah, we're going to just talk about, they call it more like the Church of Satan, but not to look at it that way. It's just like you go where the troublemakers are, and that's the lower realms. I mean, many people do remote view in those areas all the time. Or, I mean, not remote view, astral healing. I mean, a lot of people do that actually. They don't even realize it. I mean, what do you heal when you're an astral? Usually you go into the lower realms to heal it. Doesn't mean you have to know all the details. But people right now, humanity is having trouble with ghosts. Just ghosts. Even acknowledge they even exist. Most of them probably don't even believe they even exist. I don't know. I have a poll from somewhere, but then you start talking about more about the demonic realms, which do exist. Just look at our government. It's like, I mean, just look at Nancy Pelosi, and the answer is right there. I mean, just that conversation alone would get shut down. Well, for the majority. So how do you get out of this? If they don't want to hear it, it's like you go nowhere forever. So, you want to evolve and move to the next level, but how do you do that when society just is too afraid? Especially you go to these churches, they might talk about hell here and there. A lot of those churches are from hell. So yeah. So how do you get? How do you snap the world out of this? That's really what it comes down to. Obviously, the trickster energies are running everything on multiple levels. They're using AI, of course. I mean, this is nothing new to a lot of people, but um, and because you have the new age groups that are spiritually aware, supposedly, at least the popular ones, but they're not going to go there. I mean, they might talk about it a little bit and act like how tough they are and how strong they are, and then go back to more fluffy stuff because that's where they feel safer at. Not that, yeah, the demonic realms are just, I don't know, just there's nothing to be afraid of, really. They're just demonic beings that just don't know how to let go of their darkness. Some of them, a devil being can be the nicest being you ever met, but they can't let go of their darkness. So it gets complicated there. That's why they call them trickster beings. If you're not ready for it, don't connect to it. But that's where a lot of our problems come. It's not just reptilians, it's just the demonic realms, obviously. And is the world gonna have this big discussion about that? Are they gonna talk about the UN? Most of them possessed anyway. Jeez. Boy, is that the truth of it. So obviously our world's been put against us. Well, yeah, some people just want to connect to the positive, and that's fine, but that light burns out eventually. Meaning the darker realm is going to show itself eventually too. If you just go to the positive, 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 I mean, I've seen people go really dark really fast, but they say they're positive, but they're like almost borderline demonic, and don't even realize it, which is interesting. Yeah, that's mind playing tricks on you there. So the 10th dimension. It's definitely a place of a lot of problems still. Anyway, yeah, all dimensions have problems. But yeah, it is a place of paradise. It usually you don't have. I believe in all these dimensions, you can still have some kind of physical body, not like here, but it can be very light. But there's still a form of it. Now, it might not be. It go into the 10th dimension. It might not be the more popular realm, but they do exist. You can still walk through walls and stuff like that. You can shift your energy. Similar to what is it being called? Vision in the comics. It's called Vision. He's like of course that was more like an AI being, but either way, he can be a physical being, but he can also go through matter. That's more like the 10th dimension, but it's also fourth dimension to a certain level, and fifth dimension, and so on. And another thing, people feel like they can fully heal in the higher dimensions. I guess it depends on the person, because many come here to unlock themselves, go through hell, basically. It's like you kind of like breaking your shell, your aura. Many people aren't ready for that. Jeez, I don't know how this world's ever going to pull itself out of this. Yeah, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. That looks about right. I mean, eventually aliens will come be part of society, but it's not going to be easy though. There's definitely a manipulative timeline where the government, anyway, government's going to screw around with it. They're definitely working on it for sure. I'm not sure if it's going to happen in our lifetime though. All right, so go to Archon timelines. Of most of Archon timelines work mostly in the fifth dimension. They do work in our dimension, obviously, but the inner workings of them, seeing them being formed, a lot's in the fifth dimension. So it means the fourth dimension, astral can't always get to it. So, like an astral fifth dimension, yeah, we're trying to make life as complicated as possible. So, yeah, obviously they can be developed in the higher dimensions, but it feels like fifth dimension where a lot of them are developed. So you have a Catholic uh, Vatican timeline. You have your food service time, food just in general for the planet timeline. I'm just going to go with it. Weather timeline. It's all then they all interlock with each other. A France timeline, because, uh, doesn't mean the whole world has to be connected to France. Europe timeline, meaning that for Europe or France or Russia, whatever, to be there, I mean, there's a timeline for them to just exist. You have a timeline. Okay, we're gonna have Russia on this planet, so there's a timeline, and then we fill it up with stuff. The Ukraine energies. I mean, it feels like it's a timeline war. There's an Archon energy. Yeah, it's a timeline of chaos. They want to rob humanity of their humanity. Well, not entirely, just those that it's to take away, like, it's a challenge, obviously challenge to remove like free will, right in front of you, like with the war. Like you don't feel like you have free will when you're there. At least the thought of it, it's actually still there to a certain level, but you don't think it's there. It's just there to pull away the will to live. It's pulling away a lot of stuff, but it's up to you to bring it back. It's really it's an attack, literally. At least, I mean, not that war, physical war, is easy. Far from it. Obviously, the invisible war that which we're all living is harder. None of it's easy, but we're definitely living in a Archon. You know, I mean, right now there are, like, let's see. it's probably more than like 10 dimensions where alien beings are fighting among each other. Within I mean, we're in the third dimension, so fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth dimension. They're just not constant war. Like I say, the secret space program, stuff like that. Conflicts. Uh, going into those agendas, each one is a difficult, but a lot of the conflicts, like in the secret space program, for example, which is basically just a galactic war, basically. It's a galactic war, aliens, Palladians, whatever, feline beings, etc. It's just a galactic, World War III or whatever you want to call it. They're just trying to, yeah, annihilate each other. Well, some are not trying to wipe everybody out, but some are. Like reptilian beings are trying to wipe out the humans. Some feline beings are trying to wipe out the reptilians. You have turtle beings that are not sure what they're trying to give advice. I don't know. Some Palladian beings are in these galactic wars are trying to be humanitarians, but then there's other Palladian beings that are terrorists. Like the tall blonde Nordics, they're just trying to make life a living hell for anybody they can. And they're ultra advanced and just, you know, like you take a Palladian being, excellent DNA, the beauty, the inner self is beautiful, but then you make the opposite of that, and you have like one of the most terrorizing villains you've ever seen. And those are usually the Nordic beings, part of World War II. And they're definitely in the secret space. I guess people don't remember those guys. So I don't follow the secret space program that much, but they're definitely there. They're definitely causing mayhem everywhere. They're just one of the more difficult ones to deal with. Associating the Nordics are worse than the reptilians. You hear about the reptilians a lot, but the top one Nordics are usually the worst ones. At least in my opinion. Because they're made to be beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Yeah, it's like a serial killer, but just beautiful. But they're galactic and they have all these powers and abilities that are just insane. So, so the Archon timeline that was built here, ancient races, of course, ancient alien races, just yeah, you can almost look at like an old machine, or I want to call it a robot, but I guess it's old alien mechanics, and just yeah, just uh so there are beings that are obviously helping the timeline and others that are making it worse. So you have that back and forth, and there is a lot of artificial intelligence connected to the Archon timeline too. So yeah, another way of visualizing it is just ancient technology. It's almost like a train or something like that. Like a it just ain't I'm just getting ancient alien technology that's part of timeline creation, at least the manipulation of it. When you think about that, though, like usually in the timelines are just energy, right? Just a vibration, just frequency. But then you add like artificial intelligence, but it's physical, at least in a fourth dimensional physical or fifth dimension physical. It like latches onto the timeline and starts messing with it and causing all kind of mind control and havoc and whatever. That's what I'm seeing with that. Lovely. It just has inner mechanics that are foreign to other beings. So take that how you will. um, yeah, that's a little bit more complicated on how that works exactly. Yeah, because you have energy, but then you add a control grid around it. Our control grid is what we have currently, as you can see. If it was just an energy timeline, it'd probably be easier to maneuver. But because it has like a grid around it that's manipulating it, things are a lot more complicated. Yeah, it's like quicksand. It's difficult to get out of it, or impossible, or you can't get out. Well, you can eventually. It's up to the mental capacity of humanity wanting to heal, but some are in denial any of this is ever even happening. Yeah, so it's but either way, those that are heal are connecting more galactically. You are healing this timeline. You're just because you don't want most don't want war. Some do. They say they don't, but yeah, just a complicated energy there. Go to the butterfly realities. So those are connected more to the fairy energies. Basically, butterflies are just to bring in new vortexes, colors. They bring the color through their own DNA. It's like you bring it like a like you have like a for example like I'll use the example like a Zeta planet was kind of grayish looking internally. You bring out a butterfly energy, it starts bringing color because of its aura to the planet itself. It shifts the frequencies of the planet itself. So that's why I have butterflies and different type of insect beings that have different colors. Obviously, you have insect beings that are kind of a pain in the ass, but more the butterfly frequencies are just opening up portals. To Agartha, of course, there are. It's more accepted to have a butterfly in this reality and a fairy flying around, which that would be. Hey, look, a little person flying around. That's what? No, we're not quite there yet, as you can see. That would probably be myth for a long time, similar to everything else that's mythology. Yeah, when you start seeing fairies flying around, first off, you gotta get yourself mentally checked. But if that checks out all right, which usually be all right, hopefully. Um, but yeah, just we are going to that fairy realm eventually, but it's not clear when. Yeah, that would be so different. So you're used to seeing like nature, you see like a butterfly, not to say you see it very often, but the season for it, but then say like a season of fairies that show up instead. Yeah, they're all having conversation with each other. That's different. And they might not even notice you. Yeah, they're not allowed to do that right now. So the butterfly energy, I would say, and that goes with other insects or any other. They're just giving you a preview of what's to come. Yeah, butterflies are just showing you that it is eventually you will see fairies here. I mean, some people technically do in a third eye, but I'm talking about more physical. Yeah. The dragon's a little bit much. I mean, just having fairies show up, we have a while for all of this stuff. It's like, can you imagine that? I mean, right now society is being programmed by the media to be fearful or whatever it has. And yeah, the media is definitely going to start to collapse, but the mainstream eventually we have a while for that. But then you have your everyday Joe that's now the new media, and that's sometimes worse because you're trusting somebody that's filming out of their basement of alternative media, but that doesn't mean that you're getting anything better than what the mainstream is doing. Sometimes it could be worse because you lay your guard down. It's like, oh, this person's filming from their basement. I really feel for them. They're telling me, what's really going on, whatever that means. And then you end up being taken for a ride and not even realizing it. So yeah, it's so complicated here. So go back to the 10th dimension. The 10th dimension, all dimensions are helping us to a certain level, but there is a good and bad to each dimension. So you have a good and bad of each dimension bothering, bothering us. Like Pluto, a lot of that's being hidden from us. What happened? So like there's some kind of galactic history of Pluto, which I believe there is. 10th dimension or ninth dimension. But I'm feeling 10th dimension is keeping all that concealed. Of course, not everybody believes there's space and planets out there. Whatever, believe whatever you want. But either way, and Pluto right now is kind of a program, and there's good energy around it, but there's also a program. There's so many things for us. That's not making clear what that means, though. We have a ways to go. So energy from the 10th dimension, it's like a calming energy if you can find it, and you can find more of your higher self frequencies in the 10th dimension. Of course, you can feel it in the fourth dimension too, but 10th dimension is where a being can tell you how it is without caring if you're going to hurt your feelings or hurt or anything like that. Just telling you how it is, you know, just how it is. And that's similar to like a Saturn energy. But the 10th dimension energy also has a way of healing through health frequencies. So you can call in that frequency. Not everybody can call in the 10th dimension and get healed, but some people can because that's where they come from and they have a contract for it. So if you have a contract with a certain level of reality, ninth, 10th dimension, 11th, 12th, whatever, you can be healed by it if it's, you know, approved upon, depending on what's going on. So if I ask the 10th dimension about alien disclosure, not just yet, but every day has a version of it. But it's basically humans coming out of their shell, out of their program. So it's just that some are putting them back into a program. So but either way. So you come here, people that come here are here to erase the program. And you might be rebellious against school, you might be rebellious against a regular job, which is understood. Rebellious against society. You don't want to talk to society because you're kind of tired of it. Well, it's mundane. It's the same thing over and over again. Usually, not always, but there are cases where it's just it's like watching the local news, not getting anywhere. Um, so spiritual communities, of course, are learning tolerance, but also they're getting stronger within. So if you need a group, you're getting stronger with that group. So if you join a spiritual group and you interact with them, yeah, you are getting stronger because you're not always used to working alone. Those that are working alone are, just, yeah, from another world. They technically work better alone, literally. But yeah, there is some technology timeline from Archons on our reality. For very different reasons. Yeah, it's not here to be unlocked anytime soon. There is a possibility of it, but society's been so programmed, they're not about to have that conversation just yet, for obvious reasons. Let's see. Um, all right, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, the 10th dimension is just being kind of quiet about their realm. Like, it's just basically energy that comes down to it. Yes, there are some physical realms, but overall, it's energy. There is time travel frequencies. They can't interfere with the Archon energy. Once humanity agreed upon it in the past, this world's been shut down. It's like this world's kind of not necessarily bleeding, but it kind of feels like it is bleeding. That's the lava of it and all the, you know, I get distractions, but either way. But we are coming into a new awakening to, yeah, for the earth to connect differently with the sun, so secrets cannot be hidden so much. At least the secrets that's causing us difficulties. Meaning scandal after scandal to help humanity really, like with Congress, all the, more truth comes out about that, how corrupt some of them are. For people to unprogram themselves. It's like fishing line. People get hooked So elites are like fishing us. It's like, oh, that person's opening up spiritually. We'll just attack him and pull him back down. So it's like they got you to bite into whatever manipulation they have, and then they reel you in. So yeah, it gets kind of complicated there. All right, we'll just leave it at that. Hopefully, some of this is helpful in some form or another. All right, we'll catch you tomorrow.